welcome back. If you've missed us, we missed you too. This is Twin Brothers from Different Mothers coming to you live from Portnoy Gallery here in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada. I am Neil Phillips, and that is Aaron Portnoy.
Nevada.
I thought about that. Did you just hear how I introduced
ourselves? Yeah, you did it the wrong way.
No, but our initials wouldn't change. Think about that.
Our initials.
Right. NP, AP. By switching the names with the initials wouldn't change. Your last name begins with a P.
I'd like to buy a vowel.
I know, me too. Anyway, I'm Aaron Phillips. That's Neil Portnoy. God only knows what we talk about. You know what? We got 2 weeks to catch up on, man. But it's good to be back on the air after a quick hiatus for me last week down in Tempe, Arizona, to see Rent the Musical, 20th anniversary edition.
And then you brought the whole cast back to your house. I saw the posting.
I absolutely did, because I wanted to do an interview with them down in Tempe, but their production company is very, very stringent, and rules have to be followed that you have to get permission. So I sent them a message on Friday that I wanted to interview a couple of them while we're hanging up by the pool.
And 3 showed up.
And I got that was down in Tempe.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I had 3 show up, and then of course my daughter Alyssa, who's part of it behind the scenes, she didn't want to get in the middle of the interview. She was operating the camera.
That's why it was professional.
That's right. That's right. She's head audio. She made everything sound good for us. But yeah, so that was a great show, and now we're back this week and catching up and ready to rock and roll today. We got a big show today, right?
We got a
literally
show.
Big show.
It's a 300+ pound show. It's going to be a great show.
Hey, I'm not 300 pounds anymore.
No, but you and I combined are.
That's right. When you see our guest, who is our guest? Why don't you let them know who it is?
Jimmy Dennings
from
Tenors of Rock.
Tenors of Rock. Now,
world famous, by the way.
Absolutely.
Not just Las Vegas.
No, absolutely. And we'll get into that in a minute. I have to say, if you were tuning in expecting to see Vin A, because that's what we had promoted prior to this, he's under the weather, as we talked about last time.
I heard a rumor that he's sitting in as a double for Tape Face.
For who?
Tape Face, because he can't talk.
Oh. See, Duct Tape can fix everything, I guess, huh?
Duct Tape Vin. That's his new nickname.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Is he going to go on stage that next time?
I just made it up.
Well, I would hate to see him do that, only because what he does on the stage.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Absolutely crazy. Anyway, welcome. Hey, as always, my friend, let's start with some topics, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
You know, remember the Jeopardy guy from Las Vegas, Jeff Holzhauer?
Yeah, he lost.
Yeah, you know how many times he won before losing what his streak was?
No.
32 games. He won 32 episodes in a row, putting together almost $2.5 million worth of wins.
My friend, Adam Levin, who's the sports information director at Brandeis University, who lost to James by $18.
Really?
Was sweating it out because he still wants to hold the record as the single biggest amount won and not win. And James was coming close to that and didn't reach those numbers. So Adam still has the record for the most amount of money without winning.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that? Well, trivia for Saturday.
Doesn't matter because he didn't win it, so he's got nothing to show for it.
Nothing. Zero. They gave him $2,000.
Hey, by the way, why don't we recognize we have a live audience in the gallery today?
We do.
You guys make some noise. I'm glad I just played that laugh track, so everybody thinks.
I was going to say, press the button now, right?
We'll stop it. No, we appreciate everybody coming down. We're going to be here till 1 o'clock, of course, on the air. It's not too late to come down and meet Jimmy, take some photos in front of the Step and Repeat, and meet the folks that are down here. We appreciate it. All right, next topic for you. You know, when we did our last show a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the pending potential of a teacher strike because of the budget issues and stuff. CCSD teachers had voted.
They still striking? Or?
Well, as the last report, they had agreed that they were still going to go out. And I asked, you know, as we know, my wife is an administrator in the school district. Why would they still do that? Because Sisolak and the government here in the state of Nevada, they just approved a budget that would allow 3% increases.
But the superintendent is still at odds as to how they're going to apply it or whether they in fact can apply it.
Well, I would hope since the governor signed off on it, the can should be answered. I would think. I mean, if the governor's signing off on it, it can be applied. It's just going to be a matter of making certain, like you just kind of alluded to, it doesn't go into the general fund so that other governors take it like the previous one did years ago.
Well, but this is as political as we get here in Twin Brothers from different mothers.
I'm just glad they came up with it and they got the money. Whatever they're going to do, I just hope they apply it because
I agree.
As someone who is peripherally involved in the school district, I don't want to see them go on strike because that'll mean a lot of work for me and less work on radio.
Well, you don't work on Saturdays as a teacher, do you?
No.
So we can still have you on the show. Good.
That's good. I'm happy
check
about
mark.
that. Yeah, check mark. Absolutely. Saw Fiddler on the Roof. I have a question for you. That made me think about a question for you.
If I Vazovich money.
Absolutely. Exactly. What is your favorite all-time song ever?
Norwegian Wood.
Norwegian Wood.
Beatles.
Really?
Yep.
That's interesting.
Love that song.
You know what mine is?
Harry Chapin, though.
Harry
Cats
Chapin's
in the
good. Cats in the Cradle, classic. That's like a 7-minute song, like from beginning to end, isn't it?
Well, that's what DJs do to get up and go to the
That's
bathroom.
right. I
They
did
put the
that,
song
yes.
on, yeah.
Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive is 9 minutes long.
Gloria's a friend of Dorothy and mine, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Gloria actually gets stuck. We were at a trade show. She got stuck in the elevator. But the elevator, you could see the bottom of the elevator and Gloria's feet, and they couldn't move the elevator. So, Gloria, how you doing? You good, Gigi? You were good? Very funny. Dorothy actually drove in her limousine to do a sound check. So, I mean, that's Dorothy.
In a limousine to do she was on her way to a sound check.
Yeah, sound check, and Dorothy went for the ride. Yeah.
Gotcha. Mine is If I Were a Rich Man.
Can you hum a few bars? Maybe we get Jimmy to do it with his accent.
I'd rather have Jimmy do it than me because
yeah.
I got a Jersey accent and it's going to sound like crap.
I got a Massachusetts accent. I parked the car in the Harvard Yard. Wait till we get talking.
Say it. Oh, my God. We may need interpretation, Diane. Okay? It'll be a different kind of interpreter, but that's okay. Something. Anyway, yeah, exactly. So we saw Fiddler last. So that's your favorite song, and we'll ask Jimmy because obviously with what they do with Tenors of Rock,
right,
they run the gamut. But there's got to be one that I'm sure is in your heart that either you like to listen to or love to perform. Maybe they're two different songs.
Sure.
But last weekend I finally saw Bohemian Rhapsody on the heels of seeing.
What did you think?
I thought it was very good for the story.
Yep.
But I actually got forced to now watch it after going to the Bronx Wanderers to see their version of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Right.
And it was a very powerful movie.
Great movie. Wait till you see it the second time. You'll pick up stuff you didn't see the first time. It's even better. Oh, yeah. I saw it on a cross America.
I was going to say,
flight.
You didn't go across Atlantic, did you?
I didn't go across the big pond where he's from. but I went across to Boston, and it was one of the movies, and I enjoyed it more the second time I watched it.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Is it because you were more focused with nothing else to do?
Yeah. I mean, you're on a plane for 5 hours. What are you going to do?
Exactly. You can get bored by playing solitaire for all too long, right?
Correct.
All right. What else you got on your docket? That was on my docket. Anything on your end that kind of fits your fancy?
Nope. Busy week again at Portnoy Gallery. I fly out again this week back to Boston, and then Dorothy and I are going on a Baja Mexican cruise. Baja. It's like Nevada thing. A Baja cruise. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It's Baja, right?
Baja. Yes.
Just to get away for 4 days, and looking forward to it. And the heat has arrived in Las Vegas. We've hit triple digits.
Well, not today. There's a little breezy out there today.
It's breezy, but it's 90 degrees out. It's still nice.
That's true. We'll have to find out from Jimmy how he handles breezes.
Isn't it crazy? It could be 95 degrees here, and it's too cold to go in the water.
It's too cold to go in the water because it's only 80.
It's crazy.
The water's only 80 degrees.
Hey, let's bring Jimmy on.
You ready to bring Jimmy on?
I'm ready to bring him on. Let's have some fun.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he's got some great stories.
Okay.
We were talking before,
But I also heard him say he wouldn't share some of them publicly, so we have to be careful.
I'll get it out of him. I will. I'm good at that.
Great interrogation here on Twin Brothers from Different Mothers.
Yeah.
All right. Without further ado, let us welcome our very special guest. He is a big guest in more ways than one because of his performance, but he's only about 6'4" and 3-something, 290. How heavy are you? 307.
Yeah. He's 310. Don't lie.
That's right. Let's round up. Come on up, Jimmy. Please welcome Jimmy to the microphone. Now, if Neil and I disappear here, he's taking up more of the camera, so you'll understand why here in a second. And we got a mic for you. Mic is hot. Good morning, sir. Thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I've got to ask this question. Here it is. It's morning hours.
Yeah.
It's daytime.
Yeah.
Why do guys wear their sunglasses in this? Is it your eyes are a little still tired at this time?
I actually have a medical issue.
Oh, really?
No, I was like,
okay.
no. I'm just
now I get
a
file for American Disabilities Act.
No, I actually have bad eyesight, but I just prefer to wear darker glasses. But for me, this is actually like having normal glasses from my side.
Gotcha.
But they look dark on the
Hey,
other
we
side.
have Diane in the audience who's a signer. She does all this stuff with her hands other than being Italian, which is a natural thing.
An Italian and a Jew together would get their hands tied up.
I may ask her to come up in front of the, not in front
right
of the camera.
behind us,
because there are times with his accent, I don't know what the hell he's talking about, and I may need you to sign it in English, okay? Just checking.
Just in case she can't, though, little tidbit. I'm sorry. And you guys have a YouTube channel for your stuff?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I think we do.
He just sings. Neil just draws. He just sings.
I let someone else handle all that kind of
stuff. If you
stuff.
pull up any video on YouTube, there is a button at the lower right corner that says CC for closed caption. If you click on that button, it'll bring up the wordage for that show you're watching. So if you're singing and talking and people can't understand because of your accent, that's all they have to do.
Hey, Mr. Phillips, sir.
Yes.
I'm on the page here. Help me out because I don't know how to do this stuff.
Oh boy.
What am I doing?
Oh.
I'm
For what? What are you trying to do?
I want to share. I want to share the podcast.
Scroll it up till you see the video.
Okay, but I did it. It's an old video. Hang
No,
on.
you got to scroll down to see the live one.
There's
Right
an
there.
old. That's an
There
old
you go.
one. See, that's,
Okay, that's the old. Scroll down.
that's-
Keep scrolling.
Keep scrolling.
Keep
Keep
scrolling.
scrolling.
There's
Right there.
Hey, there we are.
Click on that.
Okay, share.
that's
Okay,
the one.
you could do that. There you go. All right.
Okay, am I done?
Now just hit post.
Post.
Or pull up the video in the lower
Gosh.
left-hand corner. You have the
I don't know.
watch party thing. Anyway, so that is Social Media 101, and we got Mark Shapiro sitting here who could probably help him better than I can.
Mark Shapiro.
Mark Shapiro.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So can you reshare it to the channel? Copy the link?
Whose channel?
Your channel.
Oh yeah, but there's no one on it. I think we've had about 4 over the years.
That's
We
great.
keep starting them up.
It's
and
2
failing.
o'clock in the morning
But then
over
we're
there.
just
Great.
not that proactive on that side. This
Oh
is
my
why
goodness.
producers shout at us.
All right, so
Yeah.
fire away, Mr. Neal. You take first shot.
Hey, you know what I want to know because we've run into each other at different events. Last time I think I saw you was at Murray Shawsuck. Like the bow.
Sawchuck.
Jeez, I can't
We
talk.
do
That
need
could-
Diane up
That
here.
could go wrong.
Oh,
that-
my-
Hey.
Thank God.
Oh, that's magic.
he had his 1.25 million subscribers to
That's
YouTube
right, yeah.
thing, and I ran into him. But
Yeah.
we have never formally met until today. Tell me the story of the Tenors. How did you come to Las Vegas? I mean, you guys are worldwide, played in front of hundreds of thousands of people, but we talked. Your goal has always been to get to Las Vegas and play in front of a smaller audience, but you're in Las Vegas. Talk a little bit about that.
Do you know what? We were all, most of us have a kind of background in the theatre and the Broadway and the West End kind of thing. And for want of a better expression, we just hated it. And it wasn't necessarily hating the shows we were in, just hating the environment. There's a million people telling you what to do. And I think it's plainly obvious that we don't really enjoy being told what to do. So
Who's going to argue with you
So,
anyway?
yeah,
Really?
so-
Not me.
you know, about 10 years ago, myself and a couple of the other guys got together and we said, look, we have a love of rock music. We all sing rock music. We're all musically sound. Why don't we try and set something up to be maybe like a corporate act or just something we could do at the weekends or do at weddings just to make some extra money. And then from there, we actually started to, get recommended to people, and we started to do support gigs for a lot of other famous bands. And then we met producers, and it just built and built. And built.
Were you booking yourself? Were you
Yeah.
you were repping
Yeah, it was
yourself?
actually one of the guys who managed the band and kind of got us to Vegas, Gareth. He was like a dog with a bone at the time, and he was the business guy, and he said, look, we'll just phone everybody. We'll try and we'll shoehorn ourselves into gigs that we had no right being there. But we met the right people, and we went on the road, and then we had some singles out that did very well in Europe, and then in Asia, and then the next thing you know, we were on the road for 8 years.
Well, you're huge in Asia. Only
I am huge
Well,
in Asia.
I was going to say everybody's huge in
everybody.
Asia.
That's the point I was going to get at. Not only being 6'4", 300 plus, but I mean, you walk down the street in Asia and they're looking at you like Bigfoot has just shown up.
No
I mean,
word
what
of a lie.
happened?
No word of a lie. People used to run screaming, and I'm not even joking. We were in, we did a show in Shanghai, and I walked around the corner. We did a photo shoot, and I was dressed kind of the way that I am right now with the kilt on and everything. And I ran around the corner with my kind of crazy hairdo. And these 2 ladies came around the corner, and they dropped ice creams, and they bailed. It was quite
It's
a
gotta be
unique thing.
hysterical.
It was quite a unique thing.
I mean, what about the doors in Asia? Because the door's got to be like 5 foot. The average height of a door is 5'7", and that type of thing. Hey, Jonathan Scott just showed up.
All right.
Wow, look
And
at
he
that.
brought some drinks with him, too, it looks
He
like.
always has drinks with him.
There you go.
Oh, bless you, mate. There you go.
Is that for, did he bring that for you?
Thanks, mate.
Did you bring that for him? All right.
Yeah, bring
there we
booze.
go. There we go. There. Oh, and it's nice and chilled for you, too, partner.
Oh.
Look at that.
Oh, well, I mean, that's...
I thought he was from Brooklyn with that
I mean,
accent.
how are you, mate? Thank you very much for that. If anyone else is coming down, bring booze.
There you go.
Booze.
And plenty of straws.
Love it, love it, love it.
And plenty of straws.
Oh, that'll go down very nicely. Yes, that'll go down very
What,
nicely.
now, what is this? Is this beer? Or?
This is a. This
Oh,
is,
it's
no, this
Irish
is, no,
whiskey.
No, this is
Wow.
This is a.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah, this is a serious. This is serious journalism up here.
Yeah, I have no clue. I don't drink. So
Very
we
serious
will
journalism.
spare no expense to bring the best information forward.
Yeah.
Made in China. What the hell is
Whoa,
this?
my goodness.
Whoa.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Hang on. We've hit a problem.
No, product of Ireland.
Product of
We're good.
Ireland, made in China.
Made in China.
No, that's the label.
What's that about?
The
Oh, that's
label.
the label. What
The
do I
label's
do?
made in
Oh.
China.
I was about to say, we have
Oh, my
we have
goodness.
fake news.
Fake news.
Is that crazy?
Yeah.
I don't know how
Oh, just use your-
we will
Just
figure
use
it
your
out.
teeth.
Just use your teeth. Why am I
That's
not
just-
surprised that you could do that?
Yeah, just use your teeth.
All right.
Oh,
We-
this is
but
nice. Okay,
back to reality.
This is gonna,
Back to the show.
This is a.
It was. We'll get you back on later. Hey, getting to Las Vegas and without a manager, trying to scramble and come in through the cracks and say, look, let me show you the video or give you our CD. I mean, at what point did you jump to that next level where now you've got people clamming at you to say, I want to represent you. I want to get you into Caesars. We want to get you into Vegas. Talk a little bit about that and the transition from the old room to where you guys now are at Planet Hollywood, correct?
Yes, that was the thing. But just to go back to the earlier point, we were like I said, at one point when we started to get successful over in Europe and in Asia, we went through many different managements as you do in this business to try and find the ones that could do it. And in between, our goal was always to get to Vegas. We always had this little dream. We'd been back and forth once or twice over the years, and we went and we've guested with the guys at Raiding the Rock Vault, Sahari and all the guys over there. We've played with Frankie Marino. We played with with Chris and Zoe Bowie. We just came over. We just tried to get involved. We met a lot of people, and then we would just happen to be out on the road in Asia. A room opened up, and they brought us to Harrah's. So we came to Harrah's, and that was just a blessing for us. We had about 2 months to pack, which was marvelous. And I still have boxes in my mother's garage at home of stuff I have no idea what's there. And we had just ended up, within 2 months, we were moving to Vegas, and we've not been back in 2.5 years.
And the show has now been in Vegas for how many years?
Just under 2.5 years.
That's great. And in Vegas,
Sunday,
that's an accomplishment.
It is because, like I said, when we first moved here, we were told, we were all in this business, so you know how competitive something like Vegas is. And we were told about 3 months. They said, enjoy it, boys. Get drunk, go and eat, enjoy yourselves. You're going to be struggling to do more than 3 months. And we're still here, 700 shows very nearly.
So with a nice segue, as they say in this industry, I'm going to turn it over to my co-host and producer, Aaron Phillips. A little background for the people watching and listening out there to find out a little bit more about you and the Tenors of Rock. Go, Aaron.
Yeah, I was just going to give some information, kind of coattailing what you were just talking about. You've performed over 1,000 concerts worldwide. You were formed in the UK in 2010, finalist on the X Factor 2013. Like you said, 3 years doing 6 shows a week. I mean,
that's crazy.
Is it multiple shows per day at times?
Oh, God, no.
Okay, so it's just one show. Okay.
We wouldn't be sober enough.
Performed 626 shows at Harrah's prior to moving to Planet Hollywood, and you were voted Best of Las Vegas 2017 by the Review Journal. So that's quite the quick resume for what is relatively a short period of time that you've actually been here in Vegas.
Yeah, and a common misconception is we were not finalists on the X Factor.
Okay, well, then whoever did your website.
Yeah. Well, they've since been fired.
Oh, okay.
We had
All
those.
righty then, ladies and
we
gentlemen.
had those folks dropped out into the street and shot.
We'll get rid of that page.
No, but the thing is, we were on the X Factor, but it's really funny. Virtually every radio show, every TV show we've ever been asked to do always talks about us being finalists or winning the X Factor, which is the equivalent of American Idol, which is really funny. We were asked to go on the show. I'm going to give you a scoop here.
Oh, I want to hear it.
Simon Cowell's company are probably going to sue me for
Send your
all the
emails
money that I don't have.
Tours of Rock.
But basically,
Tenors of Rock.
Yeah, exactly. No liability here.
That's right.
But basically, we were asked to go on the show. We went on the show. We did very, very well. And
finalist, right?
Not quite finalists.
Right.
We didn't make
That's what he's disputing.
Because you get taken into a room. If they think you're going to do very well, you get taken into a room and they talk to you like you're a 5-year-old, and they go, "Look, this could be the biggest thing in your life. This could be sensational. You're going to be very wealthy. You're going to be mega famous."
You've memorized that very well, by the way.
They give it all of the thing. And the thing is, what they don't understand is that most of us had come from a show business background. We've been in this game a long time. We've heard all the same BS before. And they then hand you a contract that basically says, You know,
we own you.
We're going to take over your life.
Yeah.
We're going to tell you what to sing, when to sing.
Sounds like the
how to
WWE
sing.
right now.
You know, and we said no. And then surprisingly, the following night, we got kicked out of the show, which was really funny because we have a fan club at home called the Tenor Ladies. And they follow us around all the shows we did in Europe. And the
Groupies.
UK. Yeah, fabulous. But they're the best. They've been with us since the beginning. And they all came to the show. And they were secretly filming it. And when we got kicked out, the whole audience booed. But then when it aired on the television, they had dubbed in cheering. So it caused a bit of a thing because the ladies then got they're very protective of us, and God bless them for it. They then put it on YouTube and told all their friends to look at this is the nonsense of reality TV.
Wow.
And they were issued with a legal notice to take it down by someone's TV company.
Wow.
Because it was, you know, and they said, do you want to start a legal battle with us? And they said no. And we said, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Wow. That's
But,
crazy.
Yeah.
I want to go back into your past a little bit, because obviously music is a big part of your life.
Yeah.
How did you know you had the interest in music that you wanted to be on the stage to perform moving forward?
My dad primarily was in bands in the 60s. And I think me and Neil were talking before. He played with a lot of the soul guys. He was a saxophone player. So he played with Chicago. He played with Cream. He was a sax player for Cream. He played Otis Redding's last ever gig.
Wow.
The last show he ever played, my dad was on his tenor sax. So my dad had the kind of musical thing. They're both comedians now, my parents. But,
okay.
At the time, that was
It's a
what
switch.
he did. You know, he actually, funny enough, we were just speaking. We went to see Rocket Man last night.
Okay.
And there's a section in the show. My dad isn't in the movie, but my dad actually played in a backing band with Reg Dwight before he became Elton John. So they touch on it a little bit in the movie for those of you that have not seen it. But yeah, that's kind of where the music kind of thing came from. I was brought up with good music. When everyone else was listening to absolute rubbish, we had the best of the best in our house.
I've got a question now. You were brought up with music.
Yeah.
What listeners and viewers out there don't realize, you were a pretty good boxer. How did you get into the boxing end of it?
I was a pretty good amateur boxer, let's say. Pretty good professionals are probably that's too much of a.
How many fights did you have, amateur level?
I had about probably 65, 70, something like that, as amateur level.
What was your record?
I only lost 4.
That's not bad.
I only lost 4, but
ever knocked out or knocked out at all?
No, never once.
How the hell could they reach that high?
This is the thing. I started boxing when I was 8 years old, and you would fight club fights and then local amateur leagues, and you kind of. And at that is I suppose it's the equivalent of like aiming towards something like the Golden Gloves in the UK.
Right.
We have a similar. The ABAs is what we call it in the UK. And then you kind of like as a kid, I'm literally just knocking people out. I'm throwing these people. But of course, I've always been a big boy. So of course, in my division, I was always the biggest. So maybe there was a little bit of that coming into it. And then of course, you start to get to 15 and 16, and those boys are all growing up, and all of a sudden they start to hit a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And then and it's at that point the epiphany happens, and you go, singing is just easier.
That's right.
So yeah, I had a good I was a boxing fan. We have lots of boxers through the family. We've worked in that. My uncle was a boxing promoter. Just been around it all my life.
And what a lot of people don't know, you played professionally, and I'll put the word in quotes, soccer.
Yeah,
I mean, 6'4", 300 pounds, and he's running up a soccer field. Hello,
he wasn't professional. He wasn't. It's like a semi-professional. It's the point just before you.
So it's like AAA.
Kind of
for baseball.
It's like that.
So you get to the level. You get to the level
Yeah.
of being a semi-professional boxer, a semi-professional soccer player, and now a professional performer.
So yeah,
I'm glad you didn't say semi.
nothing.
No, I didn't. I left
So
it out.
the boxing was purely amateur. The boxing is purely amateur. There's no, but the semi-professional football, you get to a point where someone's paying you something to play, and then they get to a certain point where they want to test you and then see if you're going to be good enough. And evidently, I'm singing in Vegas.
But you can still dribble. You can dribble the ball. I'm amazed because as Americans, we grew up. Soccer wasn't. And still isn't, it's getting there, the level of what it is worldwide. It's the number 1 sport in the world.
Yeah.
And, we used our hands to throw the ball, to shoot the ball, to catch the ball. And I guess that's illegal in soccer because you hit everything with your feet.
Yeah.
I'm amazed.
That's why they call it football in the right part of the world.
Yeah, but I'm amazed at what you're able to do with your feet and change directions and dribble.
If
crazy.
you see some Brazilians, the Brazilians are the best ones because Brazilians have the best skill in the world because they don't have. I mean, it's a cliche and it is a generalization, but the kids that grow up in the favelas of Rio and Brasilia and those kind of places, they can't afford a football, so they play with tennis balls. They'll play football with a tennis ball.
Really?
That's how they get so good at skills because they're so used to playing with a tiny little ball that when someone gives them a big ball, they're absolute geniuses. It's like there's a great story about Gary Moore, the guitarist.
Sure.
And Gary Moore said he had the same guitar for, I think it was like 40 years. It was all battered, horrible strings. It was a really cheap, horrible guitar. And he said, I used to learn all my licks on that guitar. So when I picked up my other guitars, he says I would just flew,
it was
flew
smooth.
up and down.
You could
and he said that was just the best way to learn. Learn on a bad guitar, and you'll be a better player.
You, sir, unless you're afraid of his right hook, since he's been talking about boxing,
Yeah.
you need to slide in because you keep falling out of the frame.
Yeah.
And then you're going to yell at me for how I have
No,
the
but there's a
laptop
reason.
position.
You see the size of him?
Well,
I'm
that's
afraid.
what I'm saying. You're afraid of the right
I'm
jab
afraid.
coming at you.
Let's get
So,
cozy.
there you go.
There we go.
I just want to
in.
make sure everybody's in.
I'm
you know,
back in.
because you always yell at me that you're never
We're all
in the
having a drink.
shot.
I
So
know.
there we go. All right. So all right. So
By the way, Jonathan, this Chinese Irish beer is awesome. No, I'm fine, thank you.
has an interesting aromatic
I want to try some.
flavor.
Yeah, I want to try some. I don't have a
It's
cup.
like
Well, they got them over here by the bar.
chow mein
I
bitter.
want
It's
to try a little bit.
Chow mein.
I don't drink,
Yeah.
but I mean, I got to be cordial to my.
All right,
I guess.
while everybody's getting sauced up here on the table, let me just do a hard reset. Thank you for tuning in to Twin Brothers from Different Mothers. Aaron Phillips, Neil Portnoy coming to you live from the Portnoy Gallery here in the heart of Las Vegas, and our very special guest, one of the performers in the Tenors of Rock, Mr. Jimmy Denning.
Like alcohol.
By the way, I want to mention he is dressed in kilt and everything, and for those wondering, see, there you go. There is no GoPro under the table for any inappropriate pictures or knowledge to confirm or deny how they're truly worn. So he is this pure,
Pure faith.
straightforward. Did you ever consider wrestling? Oh, wait a minute.
It's pure faith.
We're being.
Nothing but your wife's lipstick.
Oh my goodness!
wow.
Well, it
Oh,
was
how
nice
crass.
being on the air with
How
everybody.
crass.
Thank you. There goes
Crass.
Twin Brothers. Now, given your size, I want to stick with sports for 1 second. This
Yeah.
question may be sort of out there, but I'm a huge wrestling fan.
Yeah, me
Anybody ever approach you about going into pro wrestling with your size?
too. No, I was
Really?
the only other sport I was ever any good at was American football.
Okay.
They brought it to the UK and in 25 years ago, and they tried to get it into the schools and try and make it a thing. They try and do because right now, like NFL back home is huge. But at the time it wasn't, and they were trying so much. But wrestling, my uncle was a wrestler.
Really?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was a wrestler, old school, like really, like
Real wrestling.
like real
Real
wrestling.
grappling.
Real wrestling. He says he earned 30 pounds a week, and he said, but you'd have to wrestle 12 times. And
How
you'd do
much
a
is
morning-
30 pounds? And
30 pounds right now is about $50 maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say it's about
$50.
this much.
It's about
That's big,
$50. But he said, like in the 70s, he said you
Right.
used to go to one fair at 10 o'clock, then you wrestle at 1, and then you wrestle at 5, and you sometimes would be playing different
Right.
characters.
Right.
So I used to love it, but I love the WWF or WWE, sorry,
WWE.
all of that kind of stuff. And I loved it because even though it was kind of absurd, the production of it was insane.
Mhm.
And I loved it. And I actually got to speak to, I've spoken to a few friends that have friends that kind of went into the sport.
Right.
And we even spoke to Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah, he's here in Vegas.
Yeah, I spoke to Jake the Snake. When we first came here, I watched his documentary. You see the documentary he had about these addictions and stuff?
Yep.
Found out he was in Vegas. We got a hold of his publicist or his manager. And I said, look, we want to invite him to the show. And of course, a few of the guys don't know who that is. And I'm like, this guy's a legend.
Right.
What I loved about it was, you said he had a kind of profound effect on my life because watching him as a kid, he didn't have the gimmicks of being fat
That's
or being
right.
muscular. He just had a way of speaking to people, and it was just purely presence.
Mhm.
And it was a real lesson in show business
Right.
kind of thing. That he didn't have to be Hulk Hogan. Hulk
Right.
Hogan's job was easy,
Right.
but the little guys that could speak, they were the guys. And and I spoke to him very briefly and said, look, seriously, the way that I talk on a stage, the way you try and hold yourself, perform, you learned a lot from the wrestling business, especially way back in the day. It's got very comedic now and very scripted.
I mean,
But back in the day,
Aaron's got in his man cave room at home. He's got more of those belts.
I have replica belt. I've been a fan since '76. I was in the Madison Square Garden the night Bob Backlund beat superstar Billy Graham for
Okay.
what was then the Triple WF
right? Okay.
title. So I've been a big fan. I've done wrestling shows and such. But
Yeah.
midlife crisis. Most guys, you know, they get motorcycles or whatever. Not me. I now buy the replica belts.
Okay.
So that I have about 8 of them in my closet right now.
Oh, that's very cool.
My wife says if I get one more, I'm moving in with the belts in the closet. So
no, but seriously, like people
Yeah.
sometimes laugh, and I'm going, no, I love that. First of all, the athleticism's outrageous,
right.
And but the storylines and what they've built it into, what it's become nowadays, is just outrageous. But people like Ric Flair, Jake the Snake Roberts,
Mhm.
you know, I remember like Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Oh,
These
yeah.
were guys that weren't stacked, didn't have it, but they could
Had the
they
charisma.
could just talk down a camera and make it seem so easy. And it's the
Entertainment.
most difficult part.
Entertainment.
Yeah,
That's
it's the most
key.
difficult part. And they don't have any of the gimmicks to be able to,
Right.
I can just be a big scary guy with a mask on. No, you have to have a point. There's
Right.
a beginning, middle, and end. You have to be able to deliver it correctly. It's amazing. Loved it.
Beefcake just got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this
did he
past
really?
year.
Oh, there
yeah,
you go.
this
Well,
past
shout
year.
out to Beefcake. Is he
Yeah.
watching?
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Hogan, where are you, buddy? Get in there. Anyway, no, that's cool. I find that interesting. You know, your background in that is pretty good. Jake the Snake, it's called the Snake Pit Training School.
Yeah.
And he does it in town with FSW, Future Stars of
Okay,
Wrestling.
got you,
That's where he
got
does
you,
it.
yeah.
I'm involved with Big Valley Wrestling. I'm one of their commentators. So I just got into it back in February. So
Oh,
that
very
for me,
cool.
it's a dream to get into wrestling.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Of course.
Never being in the ring other than just to stand and do an interview, however.
Yeah.
I'm beyond bouncing
Yeah,
ropes and doing
yeah.
all
I
that
just,
stuff.
yeah.
Anyway, all right,
Thank God I can draw.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't
That's
do
right.
any of this stuff.
You're going to do Pilates with us next week, aren't
I'm
you?
doing Pilates.
That's right. Neil's
Anybody
going to
want
do Pilates.
you want to bring your camera, Mark? Because it's going to be something that you really don't want to put anywhere on social media.
Yeah. So, by the way, for all the guys that are sitting here, next Saturday we're doing a remote show from Club Pilates on Westlake Mead in Buffalo, and the month of June is Men's Month because of Father's Day, and you get a discount off the drop-in rate. So Neil and I are doing our show from there, and then afterwards we're going to get on the machines, and we need some guys there to support this. We're going to do some videotaping and do some promotion.
I'm going to write my script for menopause.
Menopause?
Menopause.
You're going to write your script for menopause,
Yeah, because
not menopause.
No, it's menopause. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I couldn't understand what
No,
you said.
it's my English New England accent
If
again.
he said it, I'd understand what he
Yeah,
said.
it's man. I'm going to do menopause.
Menopause.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. Dorothy, make sure his insurance is paid up, and we'll have 911 on speed dial.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the very first song you ever performed on stage?
Oh my God, I haven't. Oh, I'll tell you, it was. And it haunts me to this day. It was. Oh my God, it was Krista Berg. Any street credibility I ever had, which was minimal anyway, has just gone. It was Krista Berg. It was a song called "Missing You," and I was 8 years old. And because my mum and dad and my sister, who's the real talent of our family, can all sing and could all dance and could do all of these amazing things, I just wanted to be in sports. I didn't want to know. And I was put up for the school talent show. And it's the one and only time I've ever got stage fright. And I faked. I absolutely, halfway through the song, I was so frightened. I faked a stomach problem, and I
love it.
No, I am not even joking. I faked. I don't even think my mother knows this. So if my mother's tuning into this,
family,
this is it.
Turn the volume down now for another minute.
Jimmy, unbeknownst to you, we have a live video of that. We got on
That's right.
YouTube.
Let's pull it
We're
up.
gonna pull it up on the screen.
do it. Bugger it. Whatever. She never calls anyway. But no, so basically what happened was I was in front of all the school, and everyone thought because my dad was quite famous at one point on the television back home, and because I was the son of this show business family, of course he could sing, and of course he could, and I didn't want to do it, and I faked. I opened up the first verse. I've been missing you more than words can say. I'm going to have nightmares about this tonight. and I went down to my knees and I held my stomach. And they came on and we had an ambulance come.
Oh,
which in Britain is free, so it's totally fine.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there's no $5,000 in Britain, totally free. So the ambulance came, took me to hospital. This was the Christmas talent show, and I ended up spending Christmas in hospital
for no reason.
They thought I had some sort of intestinal problem. I was in hospital for about 5 days, and it was like all the way through. My mum brought me presents in, and I'm thinking I've got to let them know at some point. I was 8 years old. I've got to let them know on Boxing Day, which is the 22nd for us, 26th for us. I went, do you know what? I feel much better. And the doctor said, well, we've done all the tests. We've done this. I wasted so much time. I apologize to the NHS back home. I'm so sorry. So that was the first song. So this is why whenever I hear Krista Berg right now, I literally want to punch a hole in his chest. Because that's what he did to me as a child.
Oh my goodness.
This is why I ended up like this.
That's a great story. Great
We're
story.
all in denial. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right,
Yeah.
let's talk about what's going on now. Talk about there's 5 of you in Tenors, right?
Yes.
So talk about your bandmates and kind of their background a little bit and what makes you guys work so well.
Well, so the 5 of us, we've all been friends for, I don't know, 10 odd years, 12 years, maybe some of us. And we have myself being Scottish. We have Tommy, who's from Liverpool. We have 2 Welsh boys, Di or David, which is a funny thing. I'm going to get back to in a minute. Di and Johnny are from Wales, and we have Dan, who replaced Di's brother when he went back to the UK to be with his family.
Okay.
He's from Australia. So, but Di, it's a funny thing. So when I say Di in America, people always think this is something weird going on. But Di in Welsh is David.
Gotcha.
So we call him Di. His actual name is Di, but that basically translates to David.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that gets a little bit confusing. But yeah, we all kind of met through the same channels, literally in bars around the theatre district, playing football, all this kind of stuff. And we just decided we were going to put something together. We all sang different things. You know, certain ones of us got higher voices, lower voices.
Sure.
We were like, we can do this.
Right, meld it together.
Yeah, and you know, we've been together for nearly 10 years. And
Now, collectively, as a group of 5 guys,
Yeah.
is it difficult to come to decisions and choices of what songs, how you're going to choreograph it and set it up, or is there sort of like a leader of the group?
No, I don't. No, there isn't. It's not. It doesn't really work like that. We've been doing it for so long. We all know that if there's something maybe funny to say on a stage, or someone
Right.
needs to grab a microphone, they'll throw it to me.
Okay,
If we know someone has to like scream to the higher heavens, we'll give it to Di.
gotcha.
If we know we want ladies' knickers to fall off, we give it to Johnny. But there's a certain thing, you know,
Sure.
like Tom and Dan are the pure, apart from having great voices, of course, are the energy.
Gotcha.
There's we all kind of know we can pick a song, and now you know how harmonies are split and all this kind of thing. We know, right? Okay, well the top end is this. Tom, you sit there. I'll sit there. I sit in the middle pretty much, and then Johnny's always. We just kind of know now.
Right.
So song wise, we go back and forth a little bit, but to be honest, the great rock songbook is so good that no song is really bad.
How many songs do you sing tonight? What, a 90-minute show, basically? Or?
We do about 75 minutes because we share that theatre with the Crazy Girls.
Yep.
Show. So they come in a bit later. So yeah, we're kind of confined to doing about 75 minutes at the moment. But we do a lot of stuff. We do a lot of like kind of mashups of take one song, put another song with it, try and connect them a little bit. So we do quite a lot of songs, but a lot of
ticket prices for those listeners out there, that may be coming to Vegas for the first time, want to see a great show on the Strip, something that's been here almost 3 years.
Yeah.
What's the average ticket price? It doesn't matter in these venues.
To be honest with you, in Vegas,
Yep.
what's really funny for anyone that's never been to Vegas is there's really no such thing as a ticket price, because the ticket price, the Ticketmaster say, Vegas.com will probably do it cheaper, and then there's a ticket booth outside, and then you can buy it from the box office,
Right.
and I think it literally ranges from about $40 to $150, and if you're paying $150 to come and see us, you want shooting, because I wouldn't pay $150 for an operation. So but I mean that in all seriousness, that it's I would say probably you're talking, I don't know, $60, something like that.
Yeah, and it's well. Listen, it's
use
well
my code.
worth it.
If you put the code in, I think it's TORJIM. If you use that, I think it's like 30% off whatever ticket you
There
want.
you go.
I don't know. I might have got that completely wrong.
How many seat arena?
I love the way you said arena. It's about 200.
How would you say it?
It's about 200.
How would you say it?
I would say it's a small kind of rock club kind of vibe.
An
So
arena.
we hold about 200,
arena.
220, I think it is when we.
And you're full almost every night. So
We've done very well.
yeah,
Yeah,
you've done very well,
It
yep.
sells very well. So it's like going into a Sunset Strip rock club with seats.
So it doesn't matter where you sit in this room.
You should be
The
able
sound
to see.
is tremendous.
Yeah, you should be able to see wherever you are. We're constantly changing the room. We're constantly trying to upgrade it, make it better, build
Sure.
more areas to be. There's a bar going in the next few weeks.
A bar.
A bar.
Yeah.
A bar.
Bar.
Is there
I did-
sheep there
I did
now all of a
bar.
sudden?
Yeah.
No,
Well, there's 2 Welsh boys, so.
but then you go out and you do the meet and greet, signing outside after the show. You
Yeah.
guys all go out.
Absolutely.
So
Always.
it's an opportunity for your fan base or people who have never seen the band before, the group before, the performance before. You guys are very personable. You're there for the public because those are your fans. Those are the people that are going to refer you. They're going to come back to the show. They're going to talk about the show. And as much as it's Vegas is 2.1 million people, it's a very small town. All the performers, as you know,
Yep.
We're all friends. We all support each other. And that's what my wife Dorothy and I love about this city is the entertainment community is so well connected.
Yeah, that's one of. I've said this numerous times. This is one of the most inspiring places that I've ever lived, and I've been fortunate to live all over the world. And when you come to Vegas, especially as outsiders and as foreigners, you assume that everybody's going to hate you. Now, I'm sure
Yeah, I'm
there's
from
lots of people out there
Massachusetts.
that hate us, and we
Yeah.
know who you are. Don't you worry about that, and we don't care. But in all fairness, you come to a city like this where, few people are also from Vegas. You have lots of people that have come from different parts of America, different parts of the world,
Sure.
to try and make it under the big lights kind of thing. But I've got to say, listen, 2.5 years we've been here. I like to involve myself in the community. My wife does the same. But you expect it from a show business point of view. You expect it to be cutthroat. You expect the rattlesnakes to be out. And of course that happens in every business, but in show business especially. But in Vegas, I want every show, even shows that are competitors against our own. I want every show to work. Genuinely want everybody to be in work, happy. We all meet up. How was your show tonight? We were empty tonight. Don't worry, it'll pick up. And you don't want this. You don't want this negativity. There's no future in that. This town's been very good to us and the people. So
and the support system. I mean, you know, originally this date, Vinay was supposed to join us and be our guest.
Vin A, and the A stands for absent. Absent.
And I reached out to him and I said, look, you know, he said, would you like me to get somebody? I said, sure. And I said, how about Jimmy? And he said, yeah, I could get Jimmy to do it. I went, excellent, because he's never been to the gallery. We've kind of talked on social media. He says, how do I get Portnoyed? You know, and you never know with me, because that could show up in the wall at any time. And talk about a walking cartoon face. Here it is, folks.
You would need a whole big wall for him, though.
Yeah, we got a whole wall to open so we could do it. But he was very nice, and we reached out to Jimmy. Jimmy said, yeah, I'll be there. I love that.
That's perfect.
I just love that.
One thing that I liked, and you touched on it, is that you give back to the community. Give me an idea. Give us an idea of the type of community organizations or what you do to give back.
So I have a thing about the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had this thing. So I used to, it was one of the things we used to do where the boxing was concerned, that when we were doing shows in London, I used to work at several boxing gyms, and we used to work with a really good friend of mine who does amazing things for the community in a city in London. And used to take gang kids. And it's a bit of a kind of, cliched story, but it's absolutely true. Used to take bad kids off the streets that have no father figure, primarily is usually the issue.
No direction.
No direction, and they think that the gangs is the way forward. And we used to bring them into the gym, and if over the time that I probably worked there, you probably worked with 150 kids, and if 5 of them, decided that wasn't the life for them, and they maybe went to university, or they tried to learn a trade, or some of them, 2 of them actually went on to have pretty successful boxing careers, and now both have businesses and wives and kids, which is really like something else. And we used to also do a lot of boxing events for the homeless situation in London, which is a bad one. And not to say that one is better than the other, but in London, being homeless in December is a horrific thing. And I never understood how powerful countries like ours and yours, how you can have homeless people. People are always going to be disadvantaged. I never quite got my head around it. And what infuriates me is soldiers, men and women that have been service men and women, because we've got a lot of those people running through all of our families in the group. And it just kind of got to me. I thought, if you were in Vietnam or you were in Korea over here, Desert Storm, I couldn't believe it. And we have a huge problem with one particular regiment back home, the paratroop regiment, because they saw the worst of the worst in the Falklands and bits and pieces like that.
Sure.
My cousin is just a retired paratrooper. So these guys went off the rails, and they didn't have any support. So the homeless situation has always been a big thing. So wherever I've gone in the world, wherever we've lived, we've always tried to involve ourselves with the local mission. So myself and my wife, we volunteer down at the Las Vegas Rescue Mission.
Been there and done it.
So we go down there and help them out, and I'm helping them raise some cash for some charity events. We've done a few things at the show. Myself and the boys have done some fundraisers and stuff. Mark Chinook very kindly has given us a Monday's Dark. So that's $10,000, but $10,000 to the mission is about 4 months worth of food. It's insane. So thanks to Mark and all the guys at Monday's Dark. But it was maybe they didn't have the outreach to try and get to some of the people that possibly I could get to. So all we've done is put some people together and to try and help the guys down there.
One of the things that Aaron and I both have the same passion for giving back, because it's all about giving back. I did a drawing a number of years ago for the Children's Miracle Network because my passion's always been kids. And make a long story short, we made a number of prints signed and numbered by me and Coach K. We raised $473,000 and built a wing at Duke Children's. That's something you and I should talk about with the notoriety of the band and the worldwide exposure of a program that we run here at the gallery that through a limited edition signed collectible of Tenors to your fan base with the existing database, we can raise a lot of money for your charity. We'll talk later about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I think the charity you're just talking about, I think I'm doing something tomorrow. I think we're doing a Bloody Mary competition down in Henderson. I really should know. I really should know the details before I come on any form of social media. But a good friend of mine, Rich Espy, who does a lot for the community here in Vegas, I'm helping him judge a Bloody Mary competition tomorrow. So any competition you need judging, whether it's either food or alcohol,
I was going to say, you get the tough assignments.
I'm your badger.
So it's really a drinking competition.
Right. It's a drink fest.
Yeah.
Or drunk fest.
But for charity. We're giving back.
That's right. That's good. I like that. What nights are you dark?
Fridays. Just Fridays, yeah.
Okay. Time of the show?
7:30. There's a lot of Irmas before it. I'm not the quickest.
That's okay. No. That's I just want to give the audience an idea as to when the show is available and on at Planet Hollywood now.
7:30. We're on the mezzanine level, so it's the one right above the casino.
Okay.
That's where our theater is. The Sin City Theater.
Above.
Are you okay?
No, I'm trying. Listen,
you sound like you're burping over there. I don't know what.
I'm trying to learn the new language.
You're having trouble with your own language. Don't try to put his into it.
Well, that's what I mean. If I could learn another one, I might be better on radio.
Learn the lingo.
Okay, so you're down there and shows are going well. Get your tickets. Of course, tenorsofrock.com is the website.
It is.
Right? Is that a good place where folks can get tickets, or is it better to go through the Planet Hollywood website?
Get tickets out. I mean,
or scalpers.
Nowadays, the ticket booths here in Vegas are fantastic. So you can get tickets, the usual tickets for tonight, Vegas.com, Ticketmaster. But they're all available on the website as well. Right
on. So go to tenorsofrock.com. Also, you'll see the bios of the guys in the group as well, and get some more of their information. I haven't seen the show yet.
We'll go together.
We'll get the
4 of us will go.
And then everybody will confuse the daylights out of you and me, as always.
We'll go to Jimmy.com to get tickets. We'll find out something. We'll figure this out.
We'll figure something out. Not a worry. All right, I'm going to fire away some quick questions to you.
Go for it.
One-word answers. Don't think long about it. Just they're quick fire, just to see what your responses are. Now, of all the different music you perform and that you're familiar with, what's your favorite genre of music?
Rock.
Who's your favorite actor of all time?
Robert Shaw.
Who's your favorite actress at all time? We'll need a bigger boat for that,
right? Julie Walters.
I don't know any of these people.
I thought he was having
Robert Shaw. You know Robert Shaw?
No.
Quint from Jaws.
We'll need a bigger boat for that.
Does he play shortstop for anybody? Because I'm a sports guy. I don't know.
Oh my Lord!
You don't know? You never saw Jaws? The guy who had the boat that went out.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Robert Shaw.
That was his name.
The guy that got eaten by the shark off his boat.
I thought the star of the show was the shark.
Okay.
Was.
I read Peter Benchley's book for that movie, and I never set foot into the ocean for about 15 years afterwards. Anyway, and that's hard for a guy who lived on the Jersey Shore. If money were no option, what kind of car would you like to see parked in your driveway someday?
A '68 Mustang.
Ooh,
like the Shelby, the
classic,
Steve McQueen bullet car.
Go see Rick Harrison down at the Pawn Stars show. That he loves those guys. Steve McQueen and those.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
All right. Now that you're here in Vegas now, you live here, right?
Yes.
A couple of years, 3 since the show's been here?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so 3 years approximately.
Yeah.
What's your favorite leisure thing to do in Vegas?
I would probably
once again I'm stumping him.
I would
questions.
probably say listen. I would probably say something away from the strip. So like like Red Rock Canyon.
Yep.
Okay.
Myself and my wife would go running or we go walking, that kind of thing. I love
Perfect. Perfect.
Did you take the soccer ball with you?
No, she
You
won't let
can't
me.
do that on the hike
won't let me.
trails. There's rocks
She
and
won't
stuff.
let
I don't hike. What do I know? I thought you could just take the ball, tennis ball, because that whole story we heard.
Too many cliffs in case he misses.
Oh, all right.
Has
Okay.
no control.
All right.
What's your favorite Las Vegas themed thing to do?
I would suggest going to the Peppermill. Love the Peppermill. That's
Okay.
our little favorite. I like that.
Right on.
Yeah,
Right on. I
I
just did an interview there Tuesday with someone who does a show out of there.
Nina.
Yeah,
Nina.
I do.
Yeah.
I
It's
like,
posted now. Do you want
it's
to
just the
check it
greatest
out?
place at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it
And
really
you,
is.
and you get huge amount of food.
5
and
o'clock in
everything.
the morning, you want a steak. It's the best place ever.
Last question. Speaking of meals, what's your favorite meal that you'd love to have?
It's one we don't get here, unfortunately, which is a steak pie, which you guys don't do it here.
What is
What's
that?
a
What would
steak
be
pie?
what would
It's
kind of
like
be equivalent?
you just it's just big chunks of beef in what I would call traditional gravy, not that Italian nonsense that Mark Messina keeps telling me about. It's gravy is a meat based brown thing that you smother your meat and you put vegetables in it. Big bits of it's amazing.
Okay.
You don't get to my size without eating a few steak pies.
That's
Oh,
usually
that's-
my line. But I'm a big meat eater. So is there a recipe for this that my wife could write down?
I've got a recipe for it.
You have to give it to Dorothy.
Well,
I-
I always swore it would go to my mother passed it to me and said that's going to your grave with you. That's
Uh-oh.
a dark thing to say, isn't it, about a food product? But yes, I won't be saying it online because we don't
Okay.
want it everywhere.
that's right.
That's right.
It can't go everywhere.
We'll put it on like a pay-per-view site, and they have to subscribe to us in order to get the recipe.
Listen, this is it. We could do it for charity. We could
For
raise some money.
Great
We could
idea.
raise some money. If you want,
Great idea.
if you want the recipe, then show us your cash.
Last thing I want to mention and give you an
Yeah.
opportunity to talk about Sin City Sluggers.
Yeah,
You do a boxing podcast.
we're just about to start doing it. It's something I've always wanted to do because I would like to think I know a lot about the game, and myself and my co-hosts know a lot about their parts of this game. So Bill Corrigan is my co-host, and Billy was a professional heavyweight fighter and fought a lot of very, very famous guys on the way up. The Vladimir Klitschko's, David Tua, those kind of guys. Knows everybody in the sport, and now works outside, it kind of in boxing, but in business side of boxing, working with a lot of old champions that may need some help business wise, some direction. He helps with that. And Joey D'Amico, who is who's just got the fastest mouth on the planet, for want of a better, for want of a cleaner expression. But
When will the show air? Where can it be found?
so yes, so we're so basically this whole thing came about first of all through being I got asked to be a boxing kind of correspondent for Vegas from a large MMA boxing combat sport website.
Okay.
And they said, because you're based in Vegas, because you know a few people, we're going to go and see the fights. You go and see the fights, do the press conferences, and I'll just kind of come back with a little report on what I think, kind of from my point of view. And then from that, the podcast came about. So we're looking about from this day. We're probably about 3 weeks out from doing the first show. But we've got the great Al Bernstein is going to be joining us.
Good friend of mine.
To do the first one. But then we because of our connections, which is fantastic, we've got a slew of ex-world champions and stuff that are going to come on and tell us. We don't want it to be too factual.
Sure.
We just want some funny stories.
Right.
We want it to make a very light-hearted look at the sporting game. I don't want to talk about who's saying nasty things in the press or who's doing this and who's doing that.
Yeah, you don't want the
think-
drama.
I just want to hear the stories. As a fan, that's what I would want to hear.
Sure.
As a fan, how about the first Mexican heavyweight champion?
Yeah, called it as well.
Did you call
yeah,
it
we
really?
called it. Yeah. There's a
I mean,
few of us called it.
he doesn't look like a professional
So
boxer.
the thing is, Anthony Joshua in the UK, who was the previous heavyweight champion.
Right.
Anthony Joshua, you literally just put his name on a poster without an opponent, and he would sell out Wembley Stadium. That's 95,000 people. He's done it like 4 times. He's just good-looking guy. He's very personable, great for the sport. Lots for the community. He's a hero. Won the gold medal for Britain in the Olympics. But he's been very well managed. But the problem is his style is just big, tall robot. I look amazing with muscles, but muscles don't mean anything in boxing.
It's the skill set.
And of course, this little lad came in and they underestimated him. But the size of him, the way that he moves, and also never underestimate a Mexican fighter. Ever. First rule of boxing.
Really?
You're facing a Mexican, you could hit them with a brick wall and they'll still keep coming. And that's what happened. And then they'll break you. they'll just break you.
I mean,
It's just a- it's a-
Ruiz,
just a
that
thing.
was the Mexican, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he stands up straight. He can't tell if his shoes are tied.
Yep.
How did he win this thing?
Well, because he's. I mean, I think I don't have his record here, but Andy Ruiz has had nearly 30 fights. He's fought at the top level. He hasn't necessarily fought some great opponents, but at the end of the day, he knows what he's doing.
Was it a Buster Douglas type situation with?
No, I thought the Buster Douglas thing was that was a massive shock. This was, I think, them underestimating. They thought the fanfare is going to.
How would you describe his style? Because I don't understand his style. He's just a big guy. Doesn't look
He's
like
quite low to the ground. So even being the size that he is, even though he's still a very, I think he weighed in like 275 pounds.
Yeah, not
but very low to the ground. So like short legs, very Mike Tyson-esque in the way that he moved. Not quite as well as Mike Tyson, but when you're a big guy, Anthony Joshua's 6'6". He's 250 pounds of brawn.
Yeah,
he doesn't move that quickly.
Big guy, yeah.
He doesn't move as quickly as someone even that is a lot heavier than him, but lower. And he just got caught. And it's like anything. You get caught. It depends on how you. He's the golden boy. And it's how he came back to how you face adversity. And against the Mexican, like you said, their heart in the fighting game is just devastating.
Great for the country, great for the game of
It's fantastic
boxing.
because there's all sorts of stuff they were talking about with the finances that allegedly Andy Ruiz had never really made a great deal of money out of boxing. He's fought Josie Parker for the world title a few years back, but Josie Parker's not a big name. So he'd have earned okay, but not life-changing amounts of money. Came from a rough background in California, and he gets to fight. He was a last-minute replacement as well,
which was
so he was a replacement. He was a replacement, and to my knowledge, with the people we know, to our knowledge, he was offered $2 million for the fight, where Anthony Joshua was probably on about $25 million. Right? He was offered $2 million for the fight, and if he won, he would receive a bonus of.
That there was something in the contract guaranteed.
Yeah, but that's pretty standard.
Okay.
If you Anthony Joshua is a business. He is a huge business. I mean, in the boxing world, only Canelo probably is the only person he would be second to. He is a business. He could fight a dustbin in a ring at Wembley Stadium, and it will sell out, and it will do 500,000 pay-per-view buys in Britain. Never mind anywhere else in the world. So they always put these things in. But the thing is, it's like any contract can be broken, and at the end of the day, he's the champ. He's the champ. So if he wants to go and fight in Mexico, he probably can.
Who's Girl Friday LLC?
It's an associate of mine.
Okay.
I acknowledge you're out there. I just want to mention to anybody that is still listening and those sitting here in our audience, apparently the Wi-Fi is wreaking havoc with our Facebook feed. So if the last couple of seconds has been a little messy on your screen, that is not in my control. That is at the control of the Wi-Fi. So we apologize for that inconvenience. So hopefully maybe it did get captured and this just hasn't updated yet. But that's where that is. We're just about out of time, my friend, although we have nobody like following us and we have control of all the time. But we've got an hour in already.
It's unbelievable. I got to tell you, everybody that does the show, Aaron and I look at each other and go, where the hell did that hour go?
Yeah, I know.
Because it's so much fun. You just sit here and talk. That's all you do.
Yeah, absolutely. If you ever want to do a wrestling spot on your show, give me a call, man. I'll come on as a guest. We'll talk wrestling.
Yeah, I don't think the other boys will have that. They're
Then I'll have to have you on my.
But listen, I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that because I have lots of kind of cool stories. My uncle told me some very cool and stories about way back in the day when proper wrestling was.
I just started with 3 other gentlemen a new podcast called Podcast Suplex.
Yeah,
and it's all about wrestling.
Yeah.
So I'll reach out to you. You come on that show.
I'd love to. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great fun. I'd love that.
All right. Well, Jimmy, thank Jimmy for coming on, guys. Let him hear it. Appreciate your time with us, my friend.
That was fun.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
We'd love to have you back in the future. Just keep chatting and seeing what else is going on in your lives.
Listen, let's just talk nonsense for an hour. It's brilliant.
That's all we do.
You mean we haven't been doing that?
I love it. Made a career out of it. It's brilliant.
Final thoughts, Mr. Neal.
Look, be safe out there, people. The heat has started to rise here in Las Vegas. And like Aaron and I say all the time, you know what? We are part of the Las Vegas community. Jimmy's part of the community now. Support local live entertainment. There is nothing like it in the world. You know, you can go to see the big shows and spend $3.2 million. It ain't going to give you the joy and satisfaction of meeting real people who are professionals at what they do brilliantly, like our friend Jimmy. Go see the show, support local entertainment.
Absolutely. Well said. Totally agree. And that is one of the things that we strive to do here is to have the local entertainment-based folks be on our show and send the message out there. All right, just as a reminder, next week we'll be at Club Pilates on Westlake Mead and Buffalo.
Bring your cameras. I'm doing Pilates.
We also will have C.A. Murph from Legal Shield. He'll be on to talk about how to take that product and use it in your business.
Correct.
Versus what we heard in the past. So he will be with us. Those who want to come down, it's an open door format to obviously be part of the show. More importantly, guys, it is Men's Month there, and so they're hoping that they can get men's down to participate in some of the Pilates exercise because it will be recorded, and we will have evidence that Neil does Pilates.
Jeez.
All right? With that, have a great week, everybody. Stay warm, stay cool, stay healthy. We'll see you next week right here on Twin Brothers for Different Mothers. Thank you for watching. Woo!